So back when we did the DMC Devil May Cry playthrough, I made note of the fact that the final Vergil boss fight in that game was a pale imitation of the boss fights that you would experience if you played Devil May Cry 3, even though they were clearly going for that same sort of boss fight style. Well, I am pleased to announce, multiple years after the game actually came out, that Devil May Cry 5 gets it right. Boy, howdy, does it get it right.
The Vergil fights are considered like the highlight of DMC3, if I remember correctly. Right? You fight him a couple of times in that game?
You fight him 3 times, and each time he gains a substantial upgrade. Because he has 3 different weapon sets, actually. Like, in his first fight, he just has the Yamato. Pretty simple, to avoid that one, because it has a more limited move set in 3 than it does in 4 and 5. But in the second fight, he gets the Beowulf gauntlets, and in the third fight, he gets the Force Edge, which is basically him dual wielding a katana and a longsword, which is fucking insane. But
Hey, Vergil, your portal opening days are over.
that is not your best one-liner, Dante, I'm gonna say.
If you want it,
Your portal opening days are over? Really? I'm just picturing Clara Oswald standing next to him and saying, that probably sounded better in his head.
how many times?
So why is Vergil just hanging around here, right? Because he just wanted to get his, like, old strength back.
He just
right?
wanted to
That
get
was-
his old strength back. Yeah, his goal has been achieved. Probably eating the demon fruit contributed to his recovery, now that I think about it. So maybe that was part of his plan too. But yeah, he's alive again. He's healthy. He's whole. And he's still an asshole. God damn it.
I do wonder, though, why did they decide to use a different facial model for Vergil in this game? They're supposed to be twins.
Well, I don't know, but they did that in DMC 4 Special Edition as well.
Did they? Okay.
Well, they could be
'cause-
fraternal twins. Like, twins don't necessarily look
no, well,
exactly-
identical, but it was a point in DMC3 where they were identical twins.
Yeah.
And then, Vergil had his hair back and Dante had his hair. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, they had scenes where Virgil's hair got messed up and it was slicked down exactly like Dante's was, so they looked identical in both face and hair during that scene, and it was supposed to like emphasize that these are twins that are fighting to the death, you know. But
Yeah.
for some reason they decided to give them 2 different faces in 4 and 5, and it's weird. You know, even in DMC, the reboot, they had the same face. So,
Yeah, I think the only difference between Dante and Vergil in the reboot was I believe Vergil just had like a sterner build around, like he had more pronounced cheekbones, but it was for the most part the same face.
yeah.
Oh, but he had a hat though, and Dante didn't. So,
Oh, man.
you know,
Look,
even in that
look,
game,
Look. We're in a post definitive edition world. He doesn't have the hat
Yeah.
anymore.
he doesn't have the hat anymore. You're right, but you know, the hat's forever.
Why
No,
did
wait,
they get
we're
rid
talking
of
about they gave the hat. They gave the hat to Dante.
Oh, okay.
No. Look, DMC reboot Vergil had a trilby. You know, that thing everyone calls a fedora, but actually isn't one. And Dante here has like a cowboy hat. You know, which makes it very confusing that he decided to do the Michael Jackson dance, because that's
To reference your question though, Ted, I don't know why the definitive edition just removed Vergil's hat.
Maybe they wanted to get rid of the, like, milady connotation with that kind of hat.
well, yeah, because like the incredibly simplistic goddamn take on social philosophy that DMC was going with was it was skirting some lines, let's say. And you know, I think the hat was maybe a bridge too far. Oh no.
Was Vergil always able to fly like a jet plane using his demon thing?
No, apparently this whole like situation with the demon fruit unlocked his Sin Devil Trigger mode. Because yeah, Vergil has a Sin Devil Trigger mode and a regular Devil Trigger.
Which in this game is a doppelganger, which is pulled from the reboot.
Yeah. It's handled a lot better here than it was in the reboot.
Yes, it is.
The main problem with the reboot version of the Vergil boss fight was that it did not play like you were fighting another Devil May Cry character. It played like a scripted boss fight with specific moments of vulnerability and everything. When you're fighting Vergil in 3 and 5, you're fighting another Devil May Cry character with all the moves and vulnerabilities that a Devil May Cry character would have. You know? So, it's almost like you're fighting another player, although not a particularly good player, just a competent one. Maybe a player who's on my level.
I'll give you a, you're a much better Royal Guard than I am.
I was gonna say, you've been doing really good with the Royal Guard with parrying his attacks, so...
Well, I mean, Vergil's one of the easier things in the game to Royal Guard, to be honest. Because his moves are so similar to yours that it's kind of easy to get the timing down.
Yeah, easier to read.
A lot of the stuff seems telegraphed, yeah.
I mean, I'm
Okay,
still
not that time.
I'm still not I'm still not perfect at it, but you know.
The fuck is that arm movement when he's deflecting your bullets? He's just like, whatever.
Is that a bike?
I tried to palm thrust him, but I was too far away.
I guess Vergil's voice is a little nasally. I was wondering why you gave him that voice, but it's like...
Yeah, no, it's always been like that. Yeah, that's just the way Dan Southworth voices the character. It's been like that since 3.
Man, I feel like he just, like, smacked me in the face for disrespecting him so badly. Because I hit him immediately after his judgment cut with the laser cannon. Just like... And Vergil's like, oh no you didn't. Anyway, the Dante boss is, for all intents and purposes, the real final boss of the game, because it is a much harder boss than the one that follows. I am kind of proud that I finished that off with a royal release.
Nero is my son.
I love this exchange.
Yeah, dumbass. You can't remember through that thick skull of yours?
I like how Vergil's just like wholly unconcerned. He actually remembers the one time it could have possibly happened.
Are you telling me sex makes babies?
Do I need to pay child support?
18 years worth, jackass.
But wait a minute, I thought that while Dante was having sex, Vergil studied the blade. You're telling me that he lied?
Yeah, Dante's never had sex.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yep, still a virgin.
It's funny how, like, the reboot version of the character opens on that, you know? Like, they really want to separate reboot Dante from this dork.
This Dante fucks. Okay.
And that's about it. I mean, he still leaves pizza lying around. That's almost like being the same character.
It's an Onimusha.
Kind of looks like one, yeah. No,
I was immediately thought of so not really Samanosuke, but Jubei's Onimusha form. Looks pretty similar to that.
I haven't actually seen Jubei's, although they did release the Onimusha 2 remaster, so I'll probably see it soon. Not yet? Oh, it's not out yet?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Right.
Don't tease me.
Well, I mean, it was being advertised at me on Steam yesterday, so I'm like, "Oh, is that out?" And then
at the time of this recording, they've announced a trailer for a 1 and 2 pack.
Yeah,
and they're adding a Hell mode for Onimusha 1 HD, and I'm curious as to what that is. And I'm wondering, wishful thinking, it's just the Genma stuff from the Xbox version.
I'm hopeful.
Didn't
I'm
they
hopeful
already
too.
remake Onimusha 1?
They did, but it was based off of the OG PS2 release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Genma Onimusha is substantially different on a mechanical level.
Yeah. It's also much better and much more hard. But that's redundant language.
How the hell is this payphone working on the top of a demon tree? It needs a phone line.
Given that it shouldn't be working, this cutscene should be a joke, but it is the most heartfelt cutscene in the game. Kyria gets more meaning in this one cutscene than she got in all of her cutscenes, like, in the entire last game. It's kind of dazzling. Sometimes less is truly more.
Kyrie is Nero's girlfriend?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I couldn't protect Credo.
Ah, we finally remember that Credo exists. Wonderful.
I guess you could say, Nero, you need more power.
Earlier in the game, he did say something very, very similar to Vergil's "You can't protect anyone without power" spiel. Anyway, Nero can apparently ghost himself an arm now. A perfectly normal-looking human arm. Wonderful. Now he doesn't need to hide it in a sling. Also, wing arms, for some reason. The concept art for Nero's Devil Trigger during DMC4's development was supposed to have wings, so this is a reworking of that old concept.
Yeah. And the fact that the wings are arms gives me one of my favorite visual moments in this cutscene.
Where his wings
I
crack
think you know
their
exactly
knuckles.
where I'm Yeah, where the wings crack their knuckles, yes.
Now, this boss fight is a glorified cutscene for several reasons, one of which is during your first run through this boss fight, specifically your first run, I'm pretty sure it doesn't apply to future runs at the boss fight, your Devil Trigger automatically recharges over time at a pretty rapid rate. So, you'll have almost constant access to your Devil Trigger during this fight. You will not have your Devil Breakers, though. But only for the first run through the fight. Anytime... Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Devil Breakers are the robot arms.
Yes. The Devil Breakers are the robot arms. The Devil Bringer is the demon arm.
Dead weight.
And now he's got his Phantom Devil Trigger thing back, so he can use the power of the Devil Bringer. Only, actually, like, without having a conspicuous demon arm attached to him.
You came all this way just for that.
Vergil,
Vergil.
don't be that guy.
Whatever you
Don't be such a tryhard.
Dante's not gonna die here. And neither are you.
Yeah, this whole situation is stupid, and I'm just gonna punch your lights both out, so the stupid stuff stops. If only politics were so simple.
I beat you. Agreed, Dante.
I like this extremely childish stipulation on Vergil's part. Also, Dante tapping out right there just kind of mirrors Nero's reaction to Dante showing up during the Urizen fight earlier. They both had pretty much the same reaction to the other bursting in on them. Yeah, I'm almost out. I'm just gonna take a nap right here.
Time for me to go hung shoe.
Anyway, you might think that Vergil is immune to gunfire. He's not, actually. He can block some of your bullets, but some of them will eventually get through if you just keep trying. Now, Nero's Devil Trigger may look different, but is functionally the same as his Devil May Cry 4 version, in the sense that when he uses it, there's a shockwave explosion that knocks everything around him upward, and whenever he attacks while in Devil Trigger form, the Devil Trigger's phantom arms will follow each strike with a second one. So you're basically doubling your attacks.
Oh.
But now that he has his Devil Trigger, he also has the Devil Bringer back, which means no matter what Devil Breaker you have equipped, or even if you don't have one at all, you also have the Buster.
Ooh, caught on it.
Now, earlier in the playthrough, I mentioned the possibility of double busters, but it turns out that that's only actually true in this fight, where you can use your buster arms to grab both the doppelganger and Vergil and slam their heads into each other,
Like the Three Stooges?
If the Three Stooges were a really hardcore Sentai, I suppose.
Yeah, so just normal Three Stooges.
Fair.
Mo, I'm not strong enough. Oh, why Ayana?
Oh, wise guy, eh?
No, wait, Devil Trigger back. No.
But yeah, when you're in Devil Trigger mode, all of your melee attacks are followed by claw swipes, just like the DMC4 one would follow them with Yamato strikes. And every blast of gunfire is followed by a summon sword. You also get much stronger attacks with your Buster Arm while you're in Devil Trigger, as usual. Although, I should mention that the Buster Arm Devil Breaker does more damage than the standard Buster Arm with your Devil Trigger. Without your Devil Trigger, I should say.
So when you play on New Game Plus, you get to use Devil Trigger and the robot arms?
Yes.
At the same time?
Yes, and you also get that when you play this boss fight for a second time.
And that's just a non-canonical. It would be cool if you could do both.
I love that so much. I think that might be my favorite reversal in the game.
Just catching Vergil in his stupid melodramatic dive bomb and transitioning directly into a wrestling bomb. It is great shit. Although I gotta say, the regular buster that you can pull on Vergil when you manage to hit him on the ground is pretty great too. Where you just get impaled on his katana and Nero's like, nah, man. Pulls it out and throws it like a spear directly into Vergil's gut. Ah.
I win.
So close.
No takesies, backsies.
So, like, even though I said this was an easy boss fight, it's not a complete throwaway. It's just easier than the Dante fight. It is also a lot easier when you have access to your Devil Breakers alongside your Devil Bringer.
I get what you mean, though, by the Vergil mode. Like, it would be cooler if you then fought Dante and then Nero, because that's like, then you're truly playing the entire story as Vergil, as opposed to, like, oh, they just didn't want to program in another boss fight at the end.
Yeah, although, like I said, I'm not sure how you would work the Devil Bringer into
Which is weird, because I think the Bloody Palace has a Nero encounter.
Does it?
Yeah. Because I'm reminded of every character has like a special like victory animation in some sort of versus mode. I don't remember what it was. I think it's Bloody Palace. Because I think you can fight the other characters in Bloody Palace after you go deep enough.
I don't think so. I'm searching it now and it's not coming up.
Okay. I might be misremembering.
I think it would have been worth trying to make it work, though, at the very least.
Interesting.
It might be that you fight both Nero and Vergil and Bloody Palace, no matter who you are.
You cut off your own son's arm for more power, and you still lost.
Damn it. The underworld is taking over.
I like how the resolution of this whole thing is, yeah, he won the fight. Might as well save the world now. Vergil's like, fuck yeah. The tree I unleashed is going to eat up the human world now. I should probably stop that from happening.
I'm surprised he gives a shit.
Well, his reasoning for doing that is, you know, if we don't stop this thing from doing that, I'm never going to get my fight against Dante. I mean, he did get his fight against Dante and he lost, but I guess he always just defaults to that didn't count when that happens.
Or it's like a Goku Vegeta situation where it's not a technical loss.
We still got a score to settle.
Evidently.
Wait, where are you going?
I like how Vergil's reasoning is, okay, Dante, if I beat Nero, I beat you. And you're like, oh, does that mean if Nero wins, Dante wins? And Vergil's like, no.
Wow, Vergil's an asshole.
You can't just expect me to stay here while you both go. Just because you're here, we can go.
This was actually a lot more effective at passing the torch than what happened at the end of DMC4, where the two just kind of parted ways and Dante waved on his way out. You know?
Hey, wait!
It's also a much better ending to Bayonetta 3.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny how Viola is just kind of a weak sauce Nero when you get down to it. She even has a fire sword. It's like I was editing that review, and it was my first real exposure to Bayonetta 3, and I'm just like, wow, this character really is just a weaker Nero.
I was just to say, I don't mind the character, it's just that I wish I had more of a reason to give a shit about her.
Yeah, mechanically, she's like not got a lot going on. Which is why I think of her as a weaker Nero, because Nero had like a lot going on mechanically. But Dante and Vergil have set off to the demon world to cut down the demon tree and save humanity again. At least this time, Vergil is helping clean up the giant tower mess that he pooped onto the city. Unlike last time, where it just kind of like, what even happened to that tower? Now that I'm thinking about it, is it just still standing?
Is it still there? Did it collapse?
It did.
At the end of the game?
I didn't see it collapse. No, it was just there.
Oh, maybe it's still there.
And I'm just like, did it
Hey,
go?
what the fuck?
Did it retract back into the ground? Maybe. Or is it still standing there to this day?
Look, I don't know. It just grew. I mean, are you kidding me? Lots of weird stuff happened.
I like how Nico specifically compares the arm to a lizard tail.
Arms growing back. Lots of stuff.
That's a smart person joke.
Do you know how much love and care I put in that devil breaker?
Wow. Oh man, I'm upset that you grew your arm back. Isn't the thing that I thought.
Well, he did kind of explode his arm through the devil breaker. So,
How's what feel?
Saving the man who killed your own father.
you see, it's revenge because he asked her that question at the beginning of the game.
It doesn't matter. They're both gone now anyway.
It's okay to cry.
Oh, Nico's being touching.
Not crying.
She's being nice.
Does make you a little
Nope.
bitch, though.
There it is.
You know, I do love these two.
I think I'm a demon.
I hope they come back soon. I also hope Nico's voice acting gets straightened out a little, but, you know.
Proud of my ass daddy died. But yeah, I know.
I do want to know what they will eventually do with DMC6, but it's been silent. You know, we have like
Oh,
no idea.
I get it. It's about Vergil and his name is V because it's DMC 5 and 5 is Roman numeral 5, which is a V. I'm so smart.
Case in point, that book is a book that Vergil used to like when he was a child. He was really into poetry as a kid, apparently.
I love that Devil May Cry bit.
Hey,
You said it.
yeah, I'm coming home. Oh yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but I got.
Okay.
He's not talking about his arm, he's talking about the sweet surrender.
Has Nero always worked for the same demon thing that Dante did?
No. What actually happened was, Nero went into the devil hunting business after Devil May Cry 4. Because, you know, there were still a lot of demons lurking around Fortuna Island and stuff. Dante sent him as a sort of a welcome present, a neon sign for Devil May Cry. This only happened in the DMC4 novelization, so it's not something that happened in DMC4 proper. But that neon sign is the one that's sitting on the side of the van. And I think the biggest miracle in this business is that Nico hasn't managed to break the neon sign yet.
That's amazing.
Anyway,
So he can turn his arm on and off whenever he wants.
he can sort of phantom attach it to the Devil Breakers, yeah.
You'll get fixed as soon as we get back.
It's interesting because Nero's demonic power does seem to generally take the form of these phantasms, you know, like his JoJo stand in DMC4. Anyway, that was Devil May Cry 5, but we have one last series tradition to enjoy, and that is the credits battle sequence. This is something that's been happening in the series since Devil May Cry 3. If you do well enough in the post-credits sequence, you generally get an extra cutscene. Although Nero's battle isn't actually necessary for that. If you do well enough in the Nero sequence to get Nico to compliment you, you actually unlock something for V. I forget what you unlock for V though.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was too. I remember in you get an achievement in DMC4 because in Nero's credit sequence, like he's doing this, but Kyrie is also there.
Yeah.
And you can't let her get hurt.
Yeah, it's the easiest of the credit sequences, honestly, because all you need to do is spam streak at the enemy to knock them away until the credits end. Since streak is a sweeper move, it generally doesn't miss anything. It generally knocks the whole crowd back. So it's a pretty easy one. Here in 5, we actually have two credit battle sequences. One is Nero, one is Dante. In Nero, your goal is to fight enough of the enemies for the big dual-wielding badass to show up, and then beat him before Nico says you should be able to do better than that. Actually, I do manage to just barely kill this asshole by the end of the credits, so I might have technically succeeded at the post-credit sequence, even though I did get the line where Nico says, "You can do better than that."
But I won. Yeah, not really.
You didn't get an S rank.
You missed your time by 0.0 seconds. Yeah, you see it disintegrated right there, just as she was starting to talk. But I'm not sure if that's like me beating the demon or it just disintegrating automatically because the sequence ends.
Yeah, because it's over.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it disintegrated as it was flopping to the ground. I honestly can't tell.
So all we gotta do is cut this.
Anyway, as Dante, your goal is actually to defeat more demons than Vergil does. This is a contest between siblings.
You're gonna need some help.
I actually failed this the first time, so I actually had to, like, go back and do this again. Which means I had to fight Vergil a second time. God damn
Jesus.
it. Anyway, the secret to success in this one is to immediately sin Devil Trigger and just pile drive a bunch of demons at the start to get an early lead. And then you should be fine if you spam your rocket launchers well enough.
We must be ready to die. Fine by me. Let's give them what they want.
I mean, use your rocket launcher to get some of the tentacles first, because those are just easy.
I was gonna say the key to win is to send Devil Trigger immediately, and then proceeds to not do that. Okay, now you did it.
Sin Devil Trigger when the lizards start spawning. Anyway,
Yeah.
the tentacles are easy enough to one-shot with the rocket launchers, so... If you do this, you can get an early lead, and from there, as long as you keep up the pressure, you should be able to hold on to your lead. Because Vergil isn't really bringing his A game. He's not tapping into his concentration meter or anything. He's just doing normal, relaxed Vergil stuff.
He's not sufficiently motivated.
I mean, he cares so much about this rivalry, you'd think he'd get motivated.
Yeah, he woke up with a cramp.
Is what you need to do to get Vergil to like be a decent person is just to make it a competition with Dante? It's just like, hey Vergil, you know, I heard that Dante donated $50 to charity last week. Did he? And then he raises
Donates $51.
51.
Now, thankfully, Sin Devil Trigger seems to refill pretty fast during this sequence. Vergil never uses his. Ever. So you can get some pretty strong damage output going if you just make better use of Sin Devil Trigger than I just did.
Ready to accept defeat, Vergil?
That confirms that you've had a higher body count. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I meant to edit the credits back in at this point, but I forgot to do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone who is listed in the credits. Maybe I'm not so sorry to the Capcom of Indonesia marketing division, but, you know. Is there a Capcom of Indonesia? Do they have a marketing division? I don't know.
Yeah.
I like how these two are just, like, mildly annoyed that he isn't back yet.
Because I've been thinking it's almost time for me to settle down.
Lady,
somewhere.
who are you kidding? You hate this place.
No,
I just can't picture a lady owning an office that looks this gaudy. I'm sorry.
What do you mean, Morrison?
See, there's this deed to this place, and I have it.
Now, Morrison here pulls one last joke on the ladies, and I can't help laughing at this whole sequence, but it's also this cutscene that fueled the rumors of the Ladies Night DLC, because it ends on Morrison saying he has a job for these two, and then we never get to see what that job is. So it'd be like, wait, is there going to be an Epilogue DLC where we get to see what these two get up to after the game? That would be cool. But no.
Doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen, no. And the electric bill has dramatic timing.
How many epilogues does this game have? Goddamn.
Just these two.
A little less than Return of the King.
Oh, okay.
Both of these cutscenes are your reward for beating Dante's section of the after credits of the credits battle. Yeah, the credits battle sequence. I like how the swords hit so hard there that Vergil's sword was actually glowing with heat for a few seconds there.
Where did you learn to count?
This is the most easygoing Vergil has ever been in this series.
Yeah. Which again is like it's weird that in Vergil mode he's more of an asshole during this.
Yeah, he even repeats the "I have no recollection" line that Urizen used.
Also, the CGI is awful.
Yeah, well, the pre-rendered animation is just awkward.
Yeah, it really is.
There's this one point where Dante grins, and it honestly looks like an AI grin meme.
A face app meme, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, same thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You know, despite being deadly enemies, these guys sure do pull off a kick-ass synchronized pose.
You know that's someone's desktop background now.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't change it.
Hey, you can probably find versions of it on like
Another
wallpaper.
deadbeat dad. What the fuck?
You get these postcards when you beat the game on different difficulties. For beating on normal mode, you get another deadbeat dad.
Is that what the A stands for?
I mean, I don't think it depends on what your rank is. So, no.
No. D for deadbeat dad. C is cool deadbeat dad. A for another deadbeat dad. S is
super deadbeat dad.
Sad dad. Yeah, like I'm losing the joke here. Anyway, DMC 5, great game. You should play it. It's one of the best in the series.
Yes, it is.
Definitely, I agree there. It's got basically everything you want from the combat system. I'm just very bad at it.
And I am only average at it. So if you want to see what people can really do with this combat system, well, there's no end to the Combo Mad videos. And I'm sure there's a straight playthrough of the game that goes through more stylishly than I managed to. But, you know, I just like having fun messing with the enemies and doing silly shit to knock them down, and then knock them down when they try to get back up again, and then knock them down when they try to get back up for a third time because they just can't learn their lesson and stay down. You know, if you play dead, I might pretend not to notice that you didn't drop any red orbs and just leave you be.
Are you a bear?
Nah, who am I kidding?
If you see a Dante in the vicinity, play dead.
If a demon tried that again, I would just shoot them again. Anyway, that's the end of this playthrough. See you all for our next one.